Hello there again and welcome to my channel Just Be. I'd like to start today's video with a bit of honesty. And that is, I'm yearning for a partnership that works. And for the past 6 years, I'd say I've done a lot of self-evaluating, looked at myself, worked out a lot. And one of the things I have been able to do is observe relationships and how men and women interact with each other and the dynamics, how it's changed. Something's a bit off and I can't quite put my finger on it. So hopefully in today's video I will be able to put my finger on it. Yeah, whatever it is that's gone wrong with men and women and the compatibility and the success rate, Alright, so let's quickly begin by reading this paragraph because I feel it will clear the consciousness and calm the spirit, because I got a feeling some people might get upset with this video, but hey, let's go. Fortunately, some are born with spiritual immune systems that sooner or later give rejection to the illusory worldview grafted upon them from birth through social conditioning. They begin sensing that something is amiss and start looking for answers. Inner knowledge and anomalous outer experiences show them a side of reality others are oblivious to, and so begins their journey of awakening. Each step of the journey is made by following the heart instead of following the crowd, and by choosing knowledge over the veils of ignorance. Right, read that again and read it again before we continue with this. Alright, so let's talk about the battle of the sexes. Okay, if we start with women, if you look around, I'd say the majority of women are enhanced either through makeup, pads, surgery, cosmetic surgery, hair, extensions, you name it, nail extensions, eyelash extensions, oh god, tanning, bleaching, tattoos, piercings, definitely enhanced. There's a lot going on for women. And then on top of that, you'll also find that there's this new wave, well, it's always been there, but it's been a gradual uphill climb to, women doing what they want in regards to society, family matters, putting themselves first. Society's definitely screaming, women do what you want, whether that be from abortions to work over motherly duties, career over love, being as superficial as you want to be and not worrying about authenticity. Do I need to go on? And this is where it gets really sad, because the men's response to women's attitudes, the changes, is this. It's like, I don't know, I just kind of hope that men would say, oh, we need to help our women, we need to save them from the situation. But instead, what we're getting is men that are emotionally fragile and not really knowing how to deal with it, and placing all the blame on women. And if you don't believe me, we're about to get deeper into this, so get ready. So why is this happening to us, you may ask? Well, let's start with looking at feminism isms. Going back to early days of women's rights, up to now, there's been a tremendous leap and in bounds of women's empowerment, and that's great. As a woman myself, of course, empowerment all the way. But the issue with that is there's definitely been an element of self-absorption. And what I mean by that is, I understand that we're seeking rights and entitlements, but can we at least prioritise what's important? No matter what walk of life you're from, as a woman, I feel like this feminist movement is distracting us from our worldly duties. There's more important things going on, health-wise, poverty, etc. There's a lot going on in the world. Global warming. I feel like it's an exploitation of our womanhood. How far can we take it? But anywho, if we look at this example, this is some sort of women's march for rights, freedom, etc. As you can see here, sex extremism. why is the focus even on sex? If we are trying to take the attention away from being objectified, why have sex written across your stomach? And if you look at the next lady, Muslims, let's get naked. That's offensive to Muslims, to those lovely Muslim women I know that choose to cover up. For whatever their reasons are, they cover up. This woman is, again, self-absorbed. I understand she's making a protest, but that's an offensive image to a lot of people. And yeah, again, lastly, freedom. Freedom from what? And what is there to gain with this freedom? I'm not sure, but moving on. Another interesting aspect of this feminism movement is another ism, shall I call it? Slut walk, one of my favourites. I am not going to spend all day sharing my opinion on the slut walk. For me, I'm a big believer of words are powerful, and there's a thing called connotation. You know, what comes into your head when you look at something, basically, and do I need to go there with a slut walk? But my point is, again, there's many other walks that they should be taking, and I don't think entitlement to be, is it seen as a slut, called a slut, or not? I'm confused because they've slapped it across the board in pink. So if the word's to be avoided, it's not helpful. Alright, okay, so while we're mentioning Amber Rose, I thought I'd quickly just again touch on this image here, where she got her and her groupies, Black China I think that is, to attend an award ceremony covered in derogatory terms. And I'm all for art, but I'm not sure what the message is here. Maybe someone can tell me. Moving on. So, here we go. This is important for our sisters, black sisters. If you look at this image here, we are also a part of this movement. We've been a part of this movement, I'd say, from 50s, 60s. We've latched on to the white woman's plight and benefited from it heavily. But you've got to remember, this is still a white woman's plight. If you look at these images here, going back to, I'm guessing, this would be the 60s, 70s period. Just white women protesting for their rights. And if you move along, more white women. Oh, yep, one black lady. Hi. And then we move into today. There's one black lady. And again, there's a black lady there. And that's definitely a black lady. I can tell by here. Hey. So, black women, don't get me wrong. As I said, the feminist movement has been great in terms of empowerment. But don't slap it on a t-shirt in such a hurry. Because, again, I feel like we have other plights to fight as black women. Alongside fighting as a woman, we need to fight as a black individual. And I feel like the feminist movement and our plight as black people is not really meshing at the minute. I don't know if it can. I'll save that for another video maybe. But it's not meshing. And that's something we need to be aware of. Another ism, I believe, is the Me Too movement, which is a great movement in so many ways, but I feel that feminism has turned it into a monster that has been great for women, and the men that should be a part of this movement, I feel like have fallen silent and been forgotten about. Men such as Terry Crews and Rob Snyder and Raz B from B2K. And poor little Corey Feldman, his stories from when he was young. And to get even nastier, let's talk about the female perpetrators out there. Alright? The feminist movement. Let's talk about the female perpetrators. There's this lovely lady here, obviously being sarcastic, called Alison Mack. She was fiddling with somebody. Alright? She's a nasty little predator. And if we move on, there's this lady here. Don't even know her name. But she was fondling around with this young man. And she was in a film with him when he was a little boy as well. So, that's not cool. And if we move on, here's a classic. Rosemary West. She killed loads of kids. And if you look at this picture with her husband looks like a creep. And she looks as clean and squeaky as ever. And last but not least, let's talk about something from today, which I've discovered recently, and I'm disgusted by, and that is R. Kelly's brother revealing that he was molested by his sister, Teresa, her name is. And so was R. Kelly for years. And she's now a big head of something in a church somewhere, running a Sunday school, which is a bit of a concern. But yeah, R. Kelly's brother went on this lady Tasha K's show and spilled the beans. And I mean spilled the beans. He said it all. And he said R. Kelly loved it. And to be honest, that would explain why he's into teenage girls, because he was abused by his teenage sister. That's a bit of food for thought there. Yes, R. Kelly, you love your music. But moving on, point made. Let's discuss Effeminism, beating the blues. And the best way to dive into this section, and obviously this is looking at men's part in this battle of the sexes. Let me just add that. I feel that men who respond to women's actions of recent with conflict are defined as effeminate. So let me break this down. Let's look at this quote. Don't hate on one group to make another feel better. Don't hate on men and call it feminism. Don't bash straight people and call it gay rights. Don't be mean to skinny people and say it's to make bigger people feel better. Just love. And to go into this even more, what I'm trying to say, here's an example. vybzkartel, my favourite dancehall artist ever. I have to say, I was pretty disappointed in what he had to say. Let's see. 99.99% of black women cream their hair or to wear Caucasian wig. They braid their hair, put glue on it and cover it with a wig made from the white woman hair. Then they flash it as if it's their own while taking selfies or pretty pics at parties. Question, are you Brazilian? But you want Brazilian hair? Or some other form of hair that is not African? As a matter of fact, black people call white people's hair pretty hair. Shake my head. I've seen black people in church with cream hair and false hair praying to God. You're hypocrites. Because if God made you with your hair, why do you change it to look like someone else's hair? God made a mistake. Shake my head. Black people, quick to say things like, oh, my grandfather is white, or my auntie, granny, cousin come from England, or you know, semi-father, mother, nephew, upon me auntie's side are Indian. Black people, check yourself before you check someone else. Wow, what a mouthful. Alright, vybzkartel, I hear you, but why didn't you just stick to the fact that you chose to be with a Turkish woman? Alright? Just say, so, I'm with a Turkish woman. Or justify your actions by explaining how beautiful it is to be with a Turkish woman. Why do you have to put down black people to justify your actions? That whole paragraph is all about putting down black women. They call it deflection. When you could have simply just said, I'm happy, that's why I'm with her, and kept your feelings to yourself. Alright? Spewing hate does not help the situation. I understand the response from a lot of black people wasn't nice, vybzkartel, but your response was just as idiotic. Moving on. It's simple really. I define this age we live in as, here we go, role reversal. Let me explain. Women, once upon a time, can't really pinpoint when, used to blame men for their actions. You know, all the negative aspects or decisions they made, they blame men for it. Now, women don't blame men, they just say, I'm doing me. I'm living my life. I can do what I want. Alright? And now we have men blaming women for their decisions, their emotional, irrational, negative decisions and feelings. What's happened? And if you go deeper into this, the reason why I think this has happened, this role reversal, is because men are seeking power. That's their instinct. They are, wherever power's found, that's where they're at. And if you look at this image here, hello Amber Rose again. I forgot his name, probably for a reason. But as you can see, he's assimilating into whatever is successful, is powerful right now. And because what is powerful is a negative mindset of a woman, my opinion, that's where he's at. As you can see, he's a hoe too. He's walking right with them. So that for me explains the role reversal. Men are simply just trying to be whatever they need to be on top of their game. And if that right now is this feminist movement, then feminist movement plus confused men equals Effeminism. Yeah, to make it plain and simple. Now, another example of effeminate men, now this is where it gets really interesting, is pimps. Hi Snoop Dogg. Not Snoop Dogg in particular, but just the concept of a pimp. If you think about it, pimps, aside from their flamboyant attire and look, that's the obvious. That's not what I'm talking about here. I want to get a bit deeper. Let's look at their relationship with women. Pimps spend at least 80% of their time, maybe even 90% of their time around women that are in terrible situations. Let's be honest. They're selling their vajayjay at cheap price, you know, crime, violence, abuse, missing their family like hell, a lot of them. I don't need to go into detail. You can imagine the life of a prostitute, I guess. Can I say that? So the fact that a pimp has to spend the majority of his time around these women, that effeminate effect is kicking in. Now, an example of the pimp lifestyle is a book named Pimp, The Story of My Life, by a pimp, I'm guessing, named Iceberg Slim. I suggest you grab this book and read it, and then you will understand what I mean when I say something happens psychologically with men when they are constantly put around women with a negative mindset. Remember, an effeminate education weakens both the mind and the body. Okay, enough about this battle of the sexes. Let's move on to how we all play a part in this issue. Self-fulfillment, aka narcissism. Think about it. We live in this age where it's about me. Self-enhancement, self-fulfillment, what you can achieve, where you can go. You know, the next fad, the next craze. It's quite tiresome, really. When are we ever going to stop and look and smell the roses? And now this is where I'm going to break down the issue with being all about you. And you're not going to like this, but hey, here we go. You see, my issue with individualism is that it creates internal conflict and you kind of lose touch. You lose that connection with humanity, per se. Let me try and explain it this way. Let's break the word individual into 3 parts, which you'll see makes absolute sense. In means expressing the situation of something that is or appears to be enclosed or surrounded by something else in the inside. Another way of putting it. Now let's look at divvy. Divvy means a divided or share, especially of profits earned by a cooperative, basically to be split, divided. And then final, dual. Dual means consisting of 2 parts, elements or aspects. Or if we swap the A for an E, we get a fight, a duel. So if we combine all these things, what are we left with? An individual is actually an internal, separated, divided conflict. So that, in other words, we'd assume that individual means singular, just us, when it actually means some sort of fight going on with that requires more than one thing. And while we're on the subject of that, let's have a look at this chakra chart. Don't worry, I'm not going to get too spiritual and deep. You'll understand why I'm showing this. If we look at our different energies, right, different chakras, you'll see that, let's work our way down. Cosmic energy, you know, our connection to the universe. Let's just call it that. It's blocked by ego attachment. Is that not what I'm talking about here? Self-fulfillment, narcissism. It'd be a bad idea. This individualism is blocking our connection to... So that in itself, does that not kind of confirm what I'm saying? But moving on quickly, let me be as quick as I possibly can. Check this out in your own time or pause it, obviously. Insight. We need a bit of insight, let's be honest. It's blocked by illusion. Truth. is blocked by lies, obviously. Love is blocked by grief. Willpower is blocked by shame. Pleasure is blocked by guilt. And survival is blocked by fear. And if we look at this list on the right, we're experiencing a lot of this. Effeminate men out there and feminist women out there, you are all experiencing the list on the right. I think who we are is important. We came into this world on our own. I understand that. You know, we are special in our own way, but we need to interact. We need to connect. As individual as we are, connection is just as important. So for the final section, I want to talk about consequences of our actions, of our narcissistic ways, and that's the broken family unit. I feel that if we continue to descend down this wormhole of me and it's her fault, it's just going to be a never-ending task of questions and sadness and frustration and anger, to be honest. And we're seeing a lot of that in relationships these days. It's obvious, if a man and a woman aren't staying together, it's going to affect the family unit. If a woman is busy doing her, it's going to affect her motherly duties, it's going to affect her kid. If the father's absent or busy arguing with the mum, it's going to affect the family unit, it's going to affect the kid. However you look at it, whatever angle you take, our prospects do not benefit the family unit. Whatever society is telling us is great is not helping the family unit. Now let's look at this post. I feel like it sums up a lot of my feelings at the minute. Where's the R&B songs about love, you ask? They're gone, because chivalry is dead and women killed it. Back in the day, a man had to work hard just to see a bra strap after a date. Now what date? It's straight to the crib to Netflix and chill. The stock of done dropped so far below value. No wonder guys aren't getting married as much as they used to. Men lost respect for women when women started losing respect for themselves. How you go from Queen Latifah singing Unity and Lauryn Hill singing Do Up That Thing to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj? Take that as you will. And to sum this up, I've just got a quick message for, firstly, women, think like a man, end up without one. True statement. And to men, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. You hear that? Hold fast to whoever your woman is. A good woman, obviously. Hold fast to her, you hear? And now I'm gonna quickly play a clip from eddiegriffin, where he also points out, you know, both men and women play a part in keeping this thing working and running and keeping that family unit together. Have a listen.
A man's objectivity and perception of what he brings to the table is no more important than a female's objectivity and what she brings to the table. She brings education and nurture. We bring two P's, provide and protect. That is the nature of our being. We leave our houses when we feel like we're not providing and we're not protecting because we don't feel like a man then. You just took my two nuts. One is provide, one is protect. When you make me feel like I'm not providing and I'm not protecting, I don't want to stay in the house because I'm not a man no more. A woman will leave the house when she feels like she's not educating the children and nurturing their existence. She'll get up and leave because you took that from her, which is her basic mode of operation.
So on that note, the message here is family is everything. You would not be here if it wasn't for some sort of union. We want to keep that union running with the right energy. So in closing, just don't get caught up in the hype, and stop and check yourself for a minute and question, are you caught up in this female madness? Do you feel that there's a possibility you could connect somehow to an effeminate man? Do something about it. I don't know what, but go do something. Because it's not looking good. It's not looking good for our future and the children of our future. So, let's quickly read this quote here. Let's quickly look at this paragraph, which points out the issues with following trends. A widespread secularization increasingly descends into a moral, intellectual and spiritual nihilism that denies not only the one who is the truth, but the very idea of truth itself. And to you women out there, any woman can spend a man's money, ride in his car, order off the menu, but only a real woman can help a man achieve his goals in life, support him when he's broke, push him to be successful, shower him with positive energy, compliment him on a regular basis, and never kick him while he's down. If you find a woman like that, make her your real partner for life. And to you guys, not as long and complicated, because I feel your issue is frustration and neglect, to be honest, by society and women. So here we go. One can know a man from his laugh. And if you like a man's laugh before you know anything of him, you may confidently say that he is a good man. Come on guys, keep your chin up, keep smiling, and don't get sucked into this effeminate ways, alright? Peace. Thanks for watching Just Be. Please subscribe, like if you like, click the bell for more videos, and please comment, because what you have to say is so important with what I'm trying to do here, and you will inspire my future videos, trust me. And follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Gmail, and let's keep this conversation flowing. Peace.